Welcome back to another episode of True Crime with Lux. Today's case is a very tragic case. I'm going to be talking about the death of Kenneka Jenkins. Now, this case leaves a lot of questions. Was it a murder? Was it a tragic accident? I'm going to share my opinions along the way and my thoughts on it. Kenneka Jenkins was 19 years old and living in Lawndale, Chicago. She was working 2 jobs at the time, just really busting her ass, and she was getting ready to go to nursing school. Everyone around her said that she was just a happy person who just loved and to laugh and make everybody around her so happy. She really wanted people to have a good time. If she was with them, her goal was to make sure that they were enjoying themselves. She was able to cheer anyone up, no matter what they were going through. She was that light that made them realize, things aren't so bad. People have said that they just really miss her voice and her laughter. Now, on September 10th, around midnight, at the Crowne Plaza Hotel, Kenneka's body was found inside of a walk-in freezer. She had gone to the hotel with some friends to celebrate another one of her friends' birthdays. It was supposed to just be a good, fun night in a safe area. The hotel was located in Rosemont, Illinois, which is about 30 minutes from where they lived. So it was a bit of a little drive. And this wasn't out of the ordinary for Kenneka and her friends. And they would regularly have parties in hotel rooms, and they would go to nicer areas like this so that they felt safe, so that they could have a good time without worrying about anything happening. Rosemont was a wealthy area, and it had a lot of hotels. It was supposed to be a safe area. Something like this shouldn't have happened. It was very different from Lawndale, where they all lived, because in that area, crime was very common, and these girls were smart. They knew what they were doing. They wanted to have a great time in a safe place. Now, the party was on September 8th. They got to the hotel around 1 in the morning on the 9th, and they checked in. They headed up to the room where they celebrated Irene's birthday. Throughout the night, Kenneka, along with the other girls, kept jumping onto Facebook Lives, kind of showing off what they were doing, who they were with, just kind of checking in, showing how much fun they were having. Now, these videos later raised a lot of questions of what was really going on in that hotel room, who was there, and it wasn't sounding like the party that they had envisioned. In one of Irene's lives, Kenneka can be heard in the background saying, "Girl, I'm not drunk." And Irene would later say that Kenneka was very drunk, and that if she said that she wasn't drunk, usually made an indication that she was pretty drunk at that point. And they were all drinking. They weren't planning on going anywhere yet. Nobody was driving. They were just having a great time. Kenneka and the 4 others that were there decided around 3 a.m. that it was time to head out. They were going to make their way home. And on the way out, Kenneka realized that she left her phone in the room. Now, this part gets a little confusing for me because I'm not sure what happened or why it happened. But Kenneka was left alone in the lobby of this hotel while 3 of her friends left. I don't know if all 3 of them went up to get the phone together, why it took 3 of them to get the phone, and why she was left by herself. I don't know if 1 went to get the phone and 2 others went to do something else. I'm not really sure of that whole story, but Kenneka was left alone in this lobby while her 3 friends left to get her phone. There is footage of Kenneka all by herself, and you can tell that she is stumbling around, that she's not okay. She's very intoxicated. She shouldn't be on her own at this time. Around 3:30, her friends were getting a little worried because they had come back down from getting her phone and they couldn't find her anywhere. They looked around where they left her, they looked around the lobby, all the common areas, and they couldn't find her at all. And there's footage of this as well, of them looking around the lobby and everything, trying to figure out where Kenneka went, to see if maybe she left something, but they were looking and they couldn't find her. They even asked the front desk if it was possible for them to look at the footage, but they were turned down. They were told, you're not allowed to see the footage, obviously. It's against policy. Kenneka's best friend, Bree, said that it felt like no one wanted to help find her. And I get why she felt that. What you need to understand about this hotel, about this area that they had gone to, is it is a majority population is white. Kenneka and her friends were all black, and they were treated differently because of this. The staff, the security, nobody took them seriously. Nobody cared what they had to say or that they were saying their friend was missing. A girl is missing, but they didn't care. So security, along with the staff, just kept telling them that they needed to go. They just needed to leave the hotel. They didn't care to listen that one of their friends was missing. They just told the girls, you need to leave. It's time for you to go. You need to get out of the hotel. Just leave. Even after they had explained all of this, they were still turned away. So it got to a point where they decided they were going to call Kenneka's mom, Teresa, and they needed help, and she needed to know. And it had been about an hour since anyone had seen Kenneka, so it was 4 a.m. when they called her mom. They just felt it in their gut. Something was wrong. She wouldn't have just wandered off. Something wasn't right, and they needed help. They explained everything to her mom, and they said, we have her keys and we have her cell phone, so she couldn't have left, and we can't get a hold of her. So Teresa immediately got in her car and started heading for the hotel. When she arrived, she went straight to the front desk and explained that she needed to see their security footage. She needed to see where her daughter went, if somebody had lured her somewhere, if she had left with anybody, if she had left on her own, if she had even left. She needed to see the footage. And the staff told her, you have to have a missing persons report and the police have to be the one to come get it. She said, you know what? Okay, fine. And she called the police and she explained everything to the operator. And she told this fucking operator this was not normal for her daughter. And something was very wrong, that she was missing and they needed help. The operator had the nerve, after being told all of the information, that Kenneka probably just left with friends, was probably sleeping it off somewhere, after being told that her friends are the ones reporting her missing. Her friends that she was with can't find her. She's not with other friends. She's not sleeping it off somewhere. She's missing. We need to find her. This is real. The operator told her, we'll give it a couple hours. Just give her a couple hours. I'm sure she'll call or she'll show up. It'll be fine. The operator said, in a few hours, if for any reason that doesn't happen, you can always give us a call back. You fucking kidding me? Teresa asked, okay, whatever, but can I still file the report? I still want to file it anyway. And the operator said, no, that would take too long to do all the paperwork, to get the police to come out, and to finally get the footage of everything. And the operator was like, by the time we did all of that, Kenneka will probably show up anyway, so it'd be a waste of everybody's time. You should not be able to decide it's a waste of time. I'd rather it be a waste of time. Come out, do your job, and then if nothing comes of it and Kenneka shows up, fine. Oh well. But you did what you needed to do. You did the right thing. I'm angry about it, and I can't imagine the fear and the anger that her mother and her friends were feeling in that moment, because it's ridiculous to call for help and be told, oh, I don't actually need help. It'll be fine. I I will never understand that. So, with nothing left to do, Teresa waited the few hours and she called back and explained Kenneka still hadn't shown up. Nobody had heard from her. They can't find her still. So, at 1 p.m. on the 9th, the police finally went to the hotel. Kenneka was missing since 3 a.m. It took them hours to finally show up and take this somewhat seriously. It's crazy to me. It honestly is. Police did search, but nothing really came of it. They couldn't find her. They couldn't find any evidence of her. There was just no signs of Kenneka. And so the police decided, there's nothing more we can do. We're going to have to head out. And Teresa took matters into her own hands. And I don't blame her. And she started banging on doors. Hotel guest doors. She wanted her daughter. She wanted answers. So she started knocking on these doors, asking people, have you seen her? Do you know where she is? Anything. The hotel staff then called the police back on Teresa because she was disturbing their guest. And she should be. You should be disturbing your guest looking for a missing woman in your hotel. The police came back and they decided, you know what, we'll look at the footage. We'll appease her. We'll look at the footage and see if there's anything of note on it. And they looked at it and they're going through the hotel footage. And while the police are doing this, one of the hotel managers discovered Kenneka in the freezer. It is the next day, 12:30 in the morning of the next day, that she is discovered. And she was missing for 21 hours. And it just frustrates me because that shouldn't have been the case. They had taken it seriously from the beginning. So many things could have been different. Now, the manager obviously knew that the police were in the lobby looking at the footage, so calmly, like it wasn't a big deal to find a body in a freezer, he made his way to the police to inform them that, hey, we have a body in the freezer. Like it was a normal, everyday occurrence. Which I really hope it's not. I really hope that people aren't showing up dead in your hotel on a regular basis, that you're just nonchalant about it. The police started the investigation to figure out what happened. Was there foul play involved? Was this an accident? What's going on? And the medical examiner finally arrived around 3, and they didn't end up transporting her until 5. Which, to me, this process took a lot longer than it should have. I don't know where the coroner was coming from, the medical examiner, I don't know. But to me, it sounds strange that you find a person and it takes 2 hours for the medical examiner to arrive. It's a little strange to me. I feel like as your job, you should be there quickly so that evidence is preserved, the body's preserved, just, I don't know, to make sure everything's good. That's just my opinion, though. Teresa and her other daughter, Lenore, were able to see Kenneka's body before she was transported. So I can't imagine having that image in your head. It has to be absolutely heartbreaking to know that you were there trying to do everything you could to find her. They did end up doing a toxicology report, and it showed that Kenneka's blood alcohol level was a 0.112. And they also found a drug in her system, which I can't pronounce. I'm not going to even try to pronounce, but it is mainly used for migraines and epilepsy. But there was no reason for Kenneka to have that in her system. She wasn't prescribed that medication. She wasn't a person to take pills. It didn't make any sense for her to have that. Irene did say that some of the people at the party did occasionally take pills, but Kenneka never did, because she wasn't a fan of how they made her feel, how she felt on them. She had tried them once and was like, nope, they are not for me. So she just stuck with drinking. That was all she needed to have a good time. She didn't need drugs. She didn't need pills. I mean, it is possible that someone slipped it to her, that drug with alcohol. It would explain why she was stumbling around, because the footage, she really was having a hard time standing and walking or getting anywhere. Now, her cause of death ended up being ruled accidental after the investigation. It said Kenneka died of exposure to the elements in the freezer, and the alcohol and drugs in her system were contributing factors. I don't quite believe that. Law enforcement had cleared all of her friends that were at the party, which I don't know how that was the case. I don't know if they even talked to everybody that was at that party to begin with, but that is what they said. Kenneka's funeral had so many people come. There were hundreds that came to pay their respects because Kenneka she lit up a room. I know that's cliche, but everybody just loved her personality, her laugh, her enthusiasm about life. Her family and her friends, they all agreed that there was more to this. None of them thought that she had just stumbled into this freezer and died. There was more to this story because it was just unbelievable that that is what happened. Now, the way that Kenneka was found also brought up a lot of questions. She was curled up on the floor with one of her shoes off, and it was sitting on the floor next to her. On her ankle was a cut or a scrape. You can see the blood that she had injured the back of her foot. And behind her was a hair tie, and she also had a lip gloss on the ground. It raised more questions than answers, the way that her body was discovered. Now, some people try to theorize paradoxal undressing, which is where you're so cold that your body actually thinks you're hot, so you start taking off clothing. I don't buy this theory at all because taking off one shoe led people to theorize this. No. I, for one, think it is a more likely scenario that either her shoe was knocked off when she got that cut on her foot, possibly from the freezer door. This is a heavy door. So a couple things I've thought of is maybe she cut her foot on the door and took off her shoe to look at the cut. Maybe the door caught her shoe and yanked it off. Or when a person dragged her body into that freezer, her shoe got caught and fell off. These are more likely to me than her undressing herself. With her state of mind, I don't think Kenneka would have the strength or energy or even the will to try to open a freezer door that would take some effort. I don't see her wanting to or needing to. I can see once inside, though, since the door was heavy, that she wouldn't have been able to get back out if she was awake while in there. Protests did start because from the very beginning, Kenneka's case was not taken seriously. Nobody believed it was an accident. They wanted more answers, the real answers. I have a theory of my own. It's my opinion. It's all just me. But she was left alone, obviously very intoxicated. Didn't know anybody around her. Nobody knew her. And somebody could have taken advantage of this, whether it be a hotel worker or another guest staying at the hotel who noticed that she was alone, obviously not in the right state of mind, and took her down this hallway to do whatever they wanted with her. And in order not to get caught, they put her in that freezer. That sounds like a more logical explanation to me than her stumbling into that freezer on her own and just laying down to die. Now, I want to talk about these Facebook Live videos because they made a couple of them during the party. And like I said before, during Irene's live, Kenneka can be heard in the background saying things like, "Girl, I'm not drunk." And after that, someone did respond to her kind of in a snarky attitude. Said, "Okay, just enjoy yourself, Kenneka." And it felt more like this person didn't like Kenneka the way it came across. And later in the video, Irene is talking to somebody off camera, someone in the background, and you can't see them, but she's telling them something about $200. And people have speculated what this $200 could be referring to. Irene did explain later that she was telling somebody the cost that the hotel charges if you lose your parking ticket. You valet your car, they give you a ticket, and if you lose that ticket, it's a $200 charge. And this is all confirmed with the hotel registration and all that online. It does say if you lose your parking pass, it's a $200 fee because it's a headache for them, so they charge you. Now, people have also broken down these videos, and parts have kind of been slowed down so you can see things a little bit better. And there's parts where you can hear there's men in the room, and there's a man that says, "We about to murder somebody." And another one you hear, "They stupid, they back there raping her." These are not things that I would hope are normal or okay. Like, who says these kinds of things at a party? And who stands around saying these things and nobody's doing anything about it? If that was the case, if somebody was raping somebody, why are you all sitting around letting it happen? I um, I don't really know what to say on that one, because it's anyway. You can also hear some in the background say, "Help me." And during this portion where you hear this "help me," Irene raises the volume of the music, kind of giving off this sense like she's trying to drown out the background noise of people so you can't hear people. Another part of the video has somebody holding a phone. Somebody's holding the phone recording Irene while she's doing her live. They're holding it for her. And while this phone is recording Irene for her live, she is taking a hit off a joint. And when she exhales, it kind of looks like she's saying the word help. And it's a lot of these videos just raise so many more questions than anything of like what was really going on at this party. And were people aware of it and just didn't say anything to the police, didn't get any sort of help for anybody? It's a lot of weird things going on in these videos that would raise more questions of what more could have happened that night, what really happened to Kenneka. And it leads more towards something happened to her. Somebody did something to her. Kenneka's family believe that there's more footage from the hotel, that there has to be an angle of footage that shows that freezer. Teresa remembers seeing on the roof things that she could have sworn were cameras, but the hotel claimed that that's not cameras, that they're the sprinkler system in case of a fire. And they also were still wondering how she was even able to get into the freezer in the first place. Why was that freezer accessible to guests? Why is it that anybody can access this freezer and open it? It doesn't make any sense. It's a heavy door. Kenneka was intoxicated. I don't see how or why she would open this door. This case from the beginning was mishandled. In my opinion, of course, but it feels like, and I know, that they could have done more. From the very beginning, nobody took this seriously because these are women of color in a white hotel in a white town, and nobody cared to treat them as human. And it is disgusting, and it is bullshit, and this case could have ended differently. Kenneka maybe could have been found alive long before she even went into that freezer. Maybe while still in the freezer, they could have found her and resuscitated her. The what ifs, I know, are not helpful. It's frustrating to think of the things that could have been different if people were treated as fucking people. These people didn't care to help at all. And it's... I just wish this case was handled differently. all around. That's all I wish. And I wish Kenneka's family can have real answers as to what really happened that night, because we are not getting the full story. We are not getting the full picture. There is more to this. And I really hope we get those answers one day. I appreciate you listening to Kenneka's case. I hope you all stay safe out there. Make good choices. Be good. Make sure you really trust your friends if you're going to have a night like this. You're going to go out and you're going to get drunk. Make sure there's somebody there that you actually trust. I will be talking to you guys later.